Hello everyone, we are going to look into the 8086 pin configuration. This is the diagram. As we look into the diagram, you can see it is a 40 pin dual inline package DIP. 20 pins on one side and the second side, the remaining 20 pins will be present in the next side. Again, just by seeing the diagram, you can see that 8086 can be operated in two modes, minimum mode and maximum mode. So minimum mode, only one 86 will be present and it will take care of the entire activities. When you consider the maximum mode, more than one 86 will be in the scenario. So the pins will be segregated as a three group, one in general group, which is common for both the minimum and maximum mode. The second group will be minimum mode group. The pins will be available only for minimum mode, and maximum mode group, it is again available only for during the maximum mode configuration. So before going into each and every pin, let me introduce the basic pins. You can look into 1 and 20th pin. Both are ground pins, and 40th pin is supply. 5-volt supply must be given to the 8086 for triggering its operation. And by looking into the pins from 2 to 16, AD0 to AD14, the 15 pins, AD0 to AD15, AD 2 to 16, and you can look into the 39th pin, AD0 to AD15. All the 16 address lines is multiplexed with the data lines. So that is why AD. A stands for address and D for data. So all the address and data lines of first 16 are multiplexed and given in the pin from 2 to 16th pin and 39th pin. 8086 is a 20-bit address line configuration. So the remaining 4 address A16, 17, 18, 19 are multiplexed with the status. You can see S3, S4, S5 and S6. Okay, now look into each and every pin in detailed manner. So these are the basic configuration and features of 8086. 8086, it is designed by Intel, a very well known 16-bit microprocessor. Again, as I said, it is a 40 pin chip which is made of dual inline package. The supply used for 8086 is 5 volt. It uses a 20-bit address lines and 16-bit data lines. The entire 20-bit address is only physical. Virtually, we are going to use only 16-bit address lines using address multiplexing. We will see that later. So 20 lines of address bus is operated in the multiplex mode. Okay, and the 4-bit address, the remaining, will be multiplexed with the status. So 3 groups of 8086 signals. One is a common functions, basic signals, which is common for both the minimum and maximum mode. The second, which are the pins only for minimum mode. The third group is the pins only for maximum mode. And again, this we have looked already. 5 volt DC supply must be given for 8086 for its operation. And clock signal, regarding the clock, it is given in the pin number 19. The frequency of the clock can be 5 MHz, 8 MHz and 10 MHz, depending on the versions of 8086 what we are going to use. So starting with AD0 to AD15, A stands for address and D for data. So 16 address lines and data lines are multiplexed. During the first clock cycle, A0 to A15 will come out by choosing the address, and the remaining will be the data is available in the line. The remaining 4 address A16, 17, 18, 19 are multiplexed with the status signals called S3, S4, S5 and S6. We consider only first S3 and S4. The S3, S4, looking into the table, you can see that by checking the status of S3 and S4, you can find out in which segment we are accessing. We have already seen the architecture. 4 segments are available in 8086: code, data, extra and stack. So which segment you are accessing, that can be determined using the status S3 and S4. So when S4 and S3 is 0, 0, it means you are accessing, you are in extra segment. So by looking into that, you can find out which segment you are giving access. Next is the BHE bus high enable, a very important pin. It is used to transfer the data using a data bus D8 to D15. Again, when you look into the table, BHE is 0 and the last signal bus, address bus A0, address signal A0. When we consider both the BHE and A0 as 0, 0, that means the whole entire address bus is given into the data. When BHE is 0 and A0 is 1, that means the upper byte 16-bit address, right? So you can divide it into 8-bit and 8-bit, so upper byte and lower byte. So upper byte is given to the even address, or it is reading from the even address. So that is the consideration. Next, 3 status signal S2, S1 and S0. It is used to find out the instruction cycle. Taking a instruction and which cycle it is in current scenario can be identified through the status pin S2, S1 and S0. We know that for executing a single instruction, 7 machine cycles are required. Opcode fetch, read, write. The read and write can be memory read or IO read, memory write, IO write, interrupt acknowledge, stop or halt, and next is passive. So in order to classify all the 8 machine cycles, we can use S2, S1 and S0 for finding. And next, very important control signals: read, write and reading. Looking into the read, it is an active low signal. So we know that what is active low signal. The signal will be get active once if you give a low signal over there. So when I give 0 to the read pin, it starts reading from either memory or IO, input output device. Similarly, write. It is available at the pin 29. Again, it is used to write the data into the memory or into the IO device. Ready pin, it is used by the peripheral device, external device, to indicate the microprocessor whether it is ready to accept the data or not. So when the ready pin is high, your microprocessor starts its operation either reading or writing into the IO device. Otherwise not. Next is the reset pin. Reset, again, as the name implies, it is resetting all the activities of microprocessor for 4 clock cycles and starting its operations fresh. INTR, interrupt request. So a lot of interrupts will be available for 8086. You are going to look into a separate chapter itself. So when an interrupt occurs, when interrupt is nothing but a temporary execution, a temporary halt for a microprocessor normal execution. It is going into the subroutine, access it and coming back for its regular operation. So whenever an interrupt occurs, the processor go and attend the interrupt and come back. So that will be given into the INTR pin, INTR interrupt request. Next is NMI, non-maskable interrupt. It is an edge-triggered interrupt. We have 2 levels of cycles, 2 levels of clock pulses, either edge-trigger or level-triggered. So NMI is the edge-triggered input. Whenever the clock goes into the negative edge or positive edge, it gets into active. So non-maskable interrupt, as the name implies, once the interrupt occurs, it cannot be stopped. It must be attended and it is having a higher priority. It must be attended and then only the 8086 go to the regular operation. INTA, interrupt acknowledged, it is given by the microprocessor to the interrupt. Okay, I'll handle the interrupt. So that is the signal given by the microprocessor to the interrupt. ALE, address latch enable at the pin number 25. Whenever the processor starts its operation, it gives a pulse. It is used to find out whether a valid address is available on the address and data line. Address latch enable. It enables the address latch. That's it. DEN, data enable. We know that 8086 can be both a transmitter or a receiver. Can be a transmitter or a receiver. So data enable means it is used to activate either as a transmitter or a receiver. It is used to separate the data from address or data bus. DT/R, the next pin, data transmit or receive. So this signal gets activated only the DEN is enabled. So it stands for data transmit or receive. So it is used to find out which direction your data is flowing, either it is receiving or transmitting. M/IO, again a control signal, whether you are going to perform memory read operation or IO read operation, a memory write or IO write, that can be classified using this signal M/IO. HLDA, hold acknowledgement, again it is the signal. Okay, we will look into the hold and then HLDA. Hold, the signal is used by the external devices asking the bus access to 8086. The 8086 grant the bus by providing HLDA, hold acknowledgement signal. Next is the lock signal, that is if the CPU is performing any priority information or any precious instructions, it never going to give the cycles or buses to the external devices. In that case, the lock will be given, no HLDA signal go into the devices. RQ/GT0 or GT1, two signals for request and grant. So this signal is given by the external devices to the CPU, again asking the buses in case of maximum mode. So which signal is having higher priority, that will be granted. Again, minimum or maximum mode, as I said earlier, two operating modes of microprocessor, either minimum or maximum. Minimum mode means only one 86 will be present, and maximum mode, more than one 8086 processor will be in the scenario. So that is identified using minimum/maximum pin. QS1 and QS0, Q status lines, we have a 6-byte prefetch Q. We have seen in the architecture diagram itself. So what is the status of the queue? That will be identified and found using these two status lines. By looking into the table, you can see if QS0 is 1 and QS1 is 0, that means the queue is empty. So similarly, what is the status of the queue? How is it now? That can be identified using these two pins. And S0, S1, S2, again, I think this we have seen it already. So these are the status pin which is used to find out what machine cycle your instruction is on. Thank you.